choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
In the tapestry of history, certain moments resonate with unique frequency, the impact reverberating through time. Among these, the launch of Sputnik not only propelled humanity into the space age, but initiated an unexpected revolution in American classrooms. The mid-20th century, a world finding its footing after the devastation of World War II, cutting the throat of new kind of conflict, the Cold War. It was a power struggle between two foremost superpowers of the world, the United States and the Soviet Union, who are in an ideological conflict and fighting to gain global influence, democracy against communism. The education system crawled like a tortoise in America, while the times demanded a rush. However, by 1948, only 8% of high school students spent more than 2 hours studying every night, alarming educators and experts. They called it a boring curriculum because there was not enough emphasis on math or science to enable them to compete effectively in an increasingly technological age. This was 1950s America. It was a proud nation short of its economic and cultural character. However, underneath these layers, it was a social body facing the currents of geopolitics, the ever-present danger of nuclear conflict, and problematic inequality within the country. However, the change was circling on the horizon. On October 4th, 1957, humanity's first artificial satellite was placed into orbit by the Soviet Union. The beginning of so-called space race event resonated across the globe. It became an eye-opener for the US and raised questions about its competitiveness. Polls in Washington measured opinion. The responses were a mosaic of emotions: fear of national security and heart-ego pride.
Youth Wants to Know may present a special program on the launching of the first Earth satellite by the Soviet Union.
Excuse me, Jane.
Oh, well, I'd like to know if the people of my generation now have anything to fear by this. Can this satellite be turned into some kind of a dangerous weapon that will harm the future generation?
Despite all those different opinions about education, the general opinion developed that something needed to be done. And that is how the educational renaissance started.
Indeed, according to my scientific advisors, this is for the American people the most critical problem of all. My scientific advisors place this problem above all other immediate tasks of producing missiles, of developing new techniques in the armed services. We need science.
The Soviet Union fostered STEM education after its success with the Sputnik launch. The government demanded skilled STEM professionals expand higher education opportunities to young adults. Universities and research institutes were established to help this expansion.
So the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik was a shock not only to American citizens who are hearing about it in newspaper reports and on the television, but also to military experts and U.S. policy makers. No one was really expecting this to happen. And the fact that the Soviets were successful really fed the fears that U.S. military planners had really generally fallen behind in developing new technology.
The shockwave of Sputnik launch resounded in Washington and kindled a determination for a comeback. There was a considerable surge in investments that were not directed to weaponry. The idea of STEM education gained popularity throughout the country. To encourage innovative thinking, the government diverted funding from education. Consequently, electronics and space programs were developed by nationwide primary schools. Scholarships also promote the skills of talented students. Sputnik's quiet orbit evolved into a cosmic challenge that altered America. It sparked a resurgence of interest and exploration about the society. Not only did it alter education in the United States, it also shifted European education. Western European nations recognized the importance of investing in science and technology education. Also, European countries decided to collaborate and develop their space agencies to provide people with enhanced STEM knowledge. Globally, the space race heightened awareness of the importance of science-related education, and countries decided to establish well-educated fields worldwide. The reform influenced modern education, increasing the emphasis on STEM education. This shift significantly increased funding for education with scientific and technical education, which has created a foundation for today's STEM fields, encouraging students to be apt for the modern technological world. This crisis accelerated technological advancements. The increased investments in science and technology education allowed various workforces in these areas to contribute to the innovations. This phenomena is evident in numerous technological advancements, like IBM's supercomputer and satellite communication technologies. Regarding the advancements in the space race, Sputnik's launch started space exploration. The United States challenged the Soviet Union by investing money in NASA to be the first country to land on the moon, which led to Apollo 11 mission in 1969. More than just a piece of legislation, the National Defense Education Act marked a national commitment to modernize education, boost math and science literacy, and reduce college costs for many Americans. It came into effect on September 2nd, 1958.
The NDEA's other sort of major thing, a lot of the funds that were spent for the NDEA had to do with college education, even graduate school education. And they focused really heavily on supporting science education in the United States and supporting, actually, there was quite a bit of support for language education. The reasons for both of these things were militaristic. There was a concern about winning the Cold War. And the idea that the federal government had an interest in making sure that people were trained to do certain kinds of jobs that were critical to that war effort. And among them, of course, were accelerating at science and being able to, to speak lots of different languages, which has many purposes, but of course, like intelligence work and various other military applications matter for that a lot.
NDEA significantly transformed the American educational system and cultural norms. American education changed from primarily focused on vocational training to prioritizing academic accomplishments and intellectual rigor, especially in science, mathematics, and engineering. The United States strengthened its commitment to the space industry and technical progress by establishing NASA, DARPA, and NSF in response to challenge. Additionally, the period saw a drive for STEM areas to be more inclusive, removing past obstacles and guaranteeing a varied presence in scientific research. The US achieved significant advancements in the space exploration after Sputnik, shown by building a Saturn V rocket and the historic moon landing. These accomplishments were turning points in educational change in addition to the technical marvels. The space race represented a significant change in world leadership and culminated with the American flag being flown on the moon. Students, teachers, and historians consider Sputnik's lasting influence. It was more than just a historical incident. It sparked long-lasting changes in the American educational system, especially in STEM education. The launch of Sputnik had rippling effects that were not just fleeting, but instead signaled the start of ongoing revolution in education. The government's efforts and dedication to STEM education created the foundation for scientific and technical breakthroughs in the United States. The long-term implication of Sputnik's launch transcends its historical significance, shaping future of education and technological exploration. It cultivated a generation equipped for scientific and technical innovation. It raises pivotal questions about future educational reforms and the role of technology in education, especially in the modern world, where technological advancements and space exploration are continuing its trend. As we face new global challenges and frontiers, this underlines the ongoing relevance of Sputnik's event in shaping technological advancements. Sputnik's launch left a special place in history, even if technological innovations like computers and telephones transformed labor and communication. Its impact went beyond technology, changing national priorities and the American educational system. The legacy of Sputnik is notable for its breadth since it propelled the US to previously unheard of heights in space exploration and STEM education.